Hello, hello. I'm Angel, and this is Angel Tarot, where we talk about all things energy, astrology, numerology, tarot, and beyond, so that we can connect our own dots through our own perceptions within our own story, personally and interpersonally. I do hope that you'll stick around and grow with me here in this space as I settle in with you and with you all. If you are here with me, thank you so much for your support and the sharing of your time. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell so you get my future uploads, and feel free to comment below. I would absolutely adore to interact with the collective. Considering the day is our lovely 8/8 Lionsgate portal, I would also like to go ahead and read the stories from the Mythic Tarot 1986 edition on the Sun and the Strength. The stories are beautiful, speak to the energy that's in our air right now. Bear with me. Sometimes we just need that coffee. I do hope that you guys are all feeling great today. I know that some energies out there are feeling heavy. Not everybody is sitting well in all of this crazy amount of energy that we have stirring around out there. But I do hope that you're well. And if you don't feel well, I invite you to allow yourself to take a pause. Slow down, breathe. It's okay. We live in a very chaotic, very fast-paced world, and our minds are designed to keep going. Keep going is not always the answer. So let's do this. As I was bookmarking the pages, I decided to use the oracle cards here, the unicorn cards, and I did not look at the cards that ultimately ended up bookmarking the pages, but I was told to not put the deck back together and to look at the bottom of the deck after I did this. And I'd like to show you what I was shown. Not joking, and 3:03 on the clock. Pets. And it says, you love and understand animals. The bottom of the deck not even joking. Creative. More Leo energy. Draw, paint, think, and act in creative ways. Super, super amazing. We're going to go ahead and start with the Sun. Of course, that's the Leo card. We're in Leo energy. We're in Leo season. We just came and still kind of feeling the new moon energy that was in Leo. As today we have that beautiful 8/8 Lionsgate wide open for us. So all about the creative sparks going forward. It feels good. Leos deserve this energy. Not that others don't. We all deserve this energy. But being a 5 placement Leo, all in my 7th house of deep connection, the energy that was before this, the energy that came before this was quite trying for a lot of us Leos. Cancer season specifically. Definitely a little bit of a struggle, little too cold for us, I would have to say. Well, let's go ahead and see what bookmark was pulled out as I marked the sun. Okay, alright, let's see what we got. You've got to be kidding me. Of course they're not. Of course they're not. Yeah, talk about your feelings. Sure as shit, that's what that says right now. Tell a friend how you feel. The sun. The card of the sun portrays a classically handsome, beautifully proportioned man with golden hair, crowned with laurel leaves, and bearing his head the golden disk of the sun. He has golden wings and wears a short robe of dazzling white. In his right hand he holds a bow and a quiver of arrows. In his left hand he cradles a lyre. Framing him are two columns and a portico, built of pale golden stone. Behind him, a golden green landscape dotted with laurel trees glows under a hot blue sky. If sorrows and fears were brought to Apollo in a song, he would take them away. Music is an expression of the sun god, transforms our darkness into light and meaning. The laurel wreath was used to crown the victors of athletic and artistic contests. The striving spirit and the crown of victory are both aspects of the sun god. Apollo's far-shooting arrows earned him the epithet Apollo Longsight, thus implying that he is an image of the part of us which can see the purpose and reason for experiences long before we have emotionally processed them and left them behind. Here we meet the radiant sun god Apollo, the gentleman of Olympus and lord of prophecy, music, and knowledge. His nickname is Phoebus, which means the brilliant, and in the myth he delighted into the heights of the mountain peaks. He was the son of Zeus by Leto, the goddess of night. Unlike other children, Apollo was not nourished on his mother's milk. He was fed nectar and sweet ambrosia, and immediately the newborn baby threw off his swaddling clothes and was endowed with manly vigor. He set forth with the bow and far-shooting arrows, which the smith god, Hephaestus, had made for him, seeking a place for his sanctuary. But the place he chose was a mountain gorge, which formed the lair of the vicious female serpent, Python, a beast sent by Hera out of jealousy to destroy Apollo's mother, Leto. The god killed Python with one of his arrows, crowned himself with sacred laurel, and called his new sanctuary Delphi. At the shrine of Delphi he established his oracle, spoken by a priestess, who became known as Pythoness. Meanwhile, he left Delphi every year in the autumn and traveled the mysterious land of the Hyperboreans, where he could enjoy an eternally bright sky. Apollo was the enemy of all darkness, and could lift men from the curse of blood guilt and the toils of sorrow. But he was a tricky deity, for his oracle was double-tongued and elusive, and his arrows could slay not only monsters, but also men. Thus he was the god of sudden death, as well as being a healer, who drove away illness and shadows. Prophecy, normally the gift of the underworld deities, was gradually appropriated by Apollo, until he himself became the embodiment of far-reaching vision. On an inner level, Apollo, the sun god, is an image of the power of consciousness to dispel the darkness. Like Hecate, who under the name of Artemis was Apollo's twin sister in myth, the god personifies something greater than one's individual capacity to gain knowledge and insight. Apollo is an image of the urge towards consciousness, which exists in all life, and therefore he is the natural complement and antithesis to Hecate. Through many long centuries and through the rise and fall of many cultures and civilizations, the thrust towards knowledge and the craving for freedom from the bondage of dark, unknown nature has driven humankind towards impressive, although dangerous heights. Apollo represents the spirit of intellectual striving, combined with a vision of the future which encompasses an ideal of perfection. Thus the fool's encounter with Apollo, the sun god, brings him the hope and clarity of daylight after the long night of waiting in the womb of Hecate. Through many trials and losses, the fool has maintained his goal and his integrity. But the card of the moon is a dark place, where although the end of the journey is near, the fool has lost both his confidence and his power of action. But Apollo is the dispeller of fear, and his bright light casts away shadows. The shadows of the moon are like the night fears of childhood, where we feel small and unimportant in the face of the vastness of the unknown, threatened by gigantic shapes that loom in the darkness. Apollo is an image of that hope and faith which spring not from any one person's striving, but from all of us, a human inheritance of nobility and determination, which can restore the fool's faith in himself, because it is also a faith in the meaningfulness and purpose of the human journey. The card of the sun symbolizes the indomitable spirit that has always struggled against superstition, helplessness, ignorance, and bondage of fatalism and despair. It is this spirit which battles with the serpent python, the embodiment of the negative power of blind instinct and primitive fear. Apollo's music also lifts us out of ourselves, for music speaks with a transpersonal voice, crossing cultures and centuries and embodying human tragedy and triumph. Thus Apollo is a great deity, respected by all gods, and even the Moirai, who were once made subject to his will, although only once. But the sun god too is ambivalent. For too much light too soon can kill if knowledge is premature and destroys the necessary time and darkness for things to gestate. Therefore the card of the sun follows after the card of the moon. The burning heat of the sun can scorch, for it does not respect nature's laws. Thus Apollo in myth was often rejected in his advances towards women, for his light was sometimes too bright. On a divinatory level, the card of Apollo, the sun god, augurs a time of clarity, optimism, and renewed trust. It is possible to understand the pattern, to plan for the future, to move forward. The curses of the night are dispelled, and the fool is now armed with foresight, purpose, and faith in the striving human spirit. Thus he encounters that great masculine principle in life, working through both men and women, which moves forward toward the goal. Ends on page 77. Interesting. I do wish for you all to resonate in that energy. The energy spoken about in the previous video, the energy within that sun card that was just read, That's what you deserve. And the energy is there for you to embody if you choose. Oh. The Strength card. And what magical unicorn wanted to talk to us? Brothers and sisters, teamwork makes the dream work. We've had a lot of that being discussed out there. It's time for teamwork. But that doesn't mean that we team up with anybody and everybody. That means that we find our tribe and we move our tribe forward. We let our tribe find us and we move us all forward. To get along with others, see the love and the best within them. And that's true. And then we live in 2022, where we have to be a little bit more careful with who we choose to interact our energy with. What kind of energy we allow to interact with us. Strength. The card of Strength portrays a muscular, powerfully built man with curling chestnut hair, wearing only a red loincloth. He is engaged in a savage struggle with a lion, and has managed to wrap his strong hands around the beast's throat. At the critical moment, he is winning the fight. Around man and lion loom the rocky walls of a dark cave. Through the mouth of the cave can be seen a barren landscape of brown hills. The lion can only be conquered with bare hands. There is no man-made tool or shortcut, but only one's own resources. The darkness of the cave is like the darkness of the unconscious, in which the primitive instincts dwell, invisible to ordinary awareness. Hercules wears the blood-red color of Ares, whom we met in the card of the Chariot. But he has already learned the lesson of harnessing his aggression and directing it towards a creative end. Here we meet the great warrior Hercules, called Hercules by the Romans, who in myth was the most invincible of heroes. He was the son of Zeus, king of the gods, by a mortal woman called Alcmene. Zeus's wife Hera was, as usual, jealous of the child born from her husband's adultery, and persecuted the hero with terrible punishments. She drove him mad, and in his madness he inadvertently murdered his wife and children. Hercules begged the gods for some task to expiate his crimes, and the oracle at Delphi ordered him to subject himself to 12 years of arduous labors in the service of the evil king Eurystheus, whom Hera favored. Thus the hero voluntarily bound himself to the servant of the goddess who persecuted him, in expiation of a crime for which she was ultimately responsible. The first of the famous 12 labors, which King Eurystheus required Hercules to perform, was the conquest of the Nemian lion, an enormous beast with a pelt that was proof against iron, bronze, and stone. Since the lion had depopulated the neighborhood, Hercules could find no one who could direct him to his lair. Eventually he found the beast, bespattered with blood from the day's slaughter. He got a flight of arrows at it. He shot, let's stumble around some more, right? He shot a flight of arrows at it, but they rebounded harmlessly from the thick pelt. Next he used his sword, which bent, and then his club, which shattered on the lion's head. Hercules then netted one entrance of the two-mouthed cave in which the lion hid, and crept in by the other entrance. The lion bit off one of his fingers, but Hercules managed to catch hold of its neck and choked it to death with his bare hands. Then he flayed the pelt of the lion with his own razor-sharp claws, and forever after wore the skin as armor, with the head as a helmet, thus becoming invincible as he was the beast himself. On an inner level, Hercules battling the Nemian lion is an image of the problem of containing the powerful and savage beast within us, while still preserving those animal qualities which are creative and vital. The lion is a special kind of beast and reflects a different aspect of the human psyche than do the willful horses in the card of the chariot. The lion in myth has always been associated with royalty, even when it is at its most destructive. And this king of beasts is an image of the infantile, savage, and totally egocentric beginnings of a unique individuality. Thus, the Nemian lion is not wholly evil, but possesses a magical skin which can offer invincibility. This invincibility is connected with the sense of inner permanence, which comes from a solid sense of me. When we wear the skin of the lion, which we have conquered, the opinions of others, the great, they who strike such fear into the hearts of timid, mean little, for we are armored in our own indestructible sense of identity. However promising its potential, the lion is savage and vicious in its animal form. The side of a person unleashed is the me-first drive, which will happily destroy anyone or anything in its path, so long as one's own gratification is assured. Rage is one of the manifestations of this drive, not healthy anger, which might be appropriate to a situation, but a furious, explosive, floor-beating tantrum when we do not get our way. Implacable pride is another of its faces, not self-respect, but a bombast and inflated self-importance which can make us savage and unrelenting towards those upon whom we are dependent and who steal the limelight from us. The lion is in many ways like the angry infant in us, demanding that the world revolve around oneself, and destroying blindly and at random when it does not. But if this beast is conquered, then we can appropriate the magical skin, which in psychological terms means integrating the vital power of the beast and making it serve a conscious and responsible ego. Thus Hercules' conquest of the lion is not truly a killing, but a kind of transformation, so that the strength and determination of the animal are expressed by a human and not a beast. Herein lies the ambivalence of the card of strength, for Hercules could easily simply destroy the beast without any benefit accruing from the slaughter. This is the negative face of Hercules within us, the kind of strength which represses all instinct without any transformation, leaving behind a strong shell within which lives a soul without passion, without anger, and without a true identity. On a divinatory level, the card of strength, when it appears in a spread, implies a situation where a collision with the lion within is inevitable, and where a creative handling of one's own rage and senseless pride is desirable. Courage, strength, and self-discipline are necessary to battle with the situation. Through such an experience, we come in contact with the beast, but also with that part of us which is Hercules, the hero who can subdue it. Thus the fool, having developed the facilities of mind and feeling, now learns to deal with his own ferocious egotism, emerging from this contest with trust in himself and integrity towards others. And I noticed that that began on page 48, which is a very important number for me specifically. So, thank you for being here, Papa. Peace, calm, still, be with you. Love and light.